One moment. All right. Looks like we're live everywhere. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Brooke Goldner from Goodbye Lupus, and I am here on my weekly show we want to call it, my weekly Q&A, and I'm here to help you solve your health problems, I guess. Listen, this can't substitute for medical advice, but I know a lot of you out there are trying to make sense of nutrition and health and disease and your immune system and your stress and all the things going on in your life. And I've been doing this now since the end of December to give all of you an opportunity to be able to reach me, to ask your questions, and for me to help you as much as I can. I want all of you guys out there living your healthy lives. Okay, what is a good lesson today from what I've been doing? Goodness, there's so much going on right now with all the people that I'm seeing. I think one conversation that I had today that I think is always helpful to hear is really about how you look at the foods that you crave, right? So a lot of times when people are having severe cravings, they compare the food that they crave to the food that they should be eating, right? In terms of their health. But that is not the right comparison, right? So for example, if it's, all right, I know for my immune system, I need to be drinking my green smoothie, right? Let's say you know that. But I'm really craving a pizza right now. And so your brain starts going back and forth, pinging between green smoothie, pizza, green smoothie, pizza. That is not the right comparison. Of course, if you're faced with those choices, well, eventually you might choose the pizza, right? But the real comparison that you need to remember is it my health, my body, my immune system, my future, or pizza? That is the actual comparison. Green smoothie versus pizza, green smoothie might lose sometimes. But if it's pizza versus the life I want to live, the body I want to live in, disability, pain, suffering, all of that, right? Living free of all that, pizza's going to lose. So just remember when you're trying to make a decision on what to eat, to make the right comparison. If it's not something that's going to give you health, is it worth giving up your health just to have it? So, all right, I hope that helps you. Let me go ahead and go over to the questions. So we are live streaming as usual over YouTube, Facebook, my Smoothie Shred group, Instagram. I'm trying to meet all of you wherever you are. So let me see. YouTube started writing questions the soonest. So let me jump over to that and see where we can start. Okay, Jasmine wants to know, will hypernourishment help with migraines? I've actually had a lot of success helping people with migraines. Personally, I've dealt with migraines. That was the first symptom that I ever had when I was getting sick. And so I know the suffering. I used to be in bed for days just vomiting and suffering with migraines. So I very much know this pain. And so I have a lot of different techniques and things that I use to help people overcome migraines. And I could spend an hour just working on all the stuff for migraines. But I can give you one good case example. So I have a client who did my rapid recovery group. She's actually a physician herself for migraines, and she's already a plant-based doctor and wonderful, compassionate person helping people, but she couldn't get rid of her migraines, and they were every single day. She was taking injections for migraines every day. And I can't even imagine doing anything with a daily migraine, but doing the kind of medical work she was doing. I mean, it was impressive. So she did my rapid recovery group to see, I wonder if there's a difference between doing this protocol and just regular plant-based eating that I've been doing and recommending. And in my rapid recovery group, though, we're working on a lot of things. So one, we optimized her nutrition so that she was eating the full Goodbye Lupus protocol, but we also worked on her stress, worked on her physical health, making sure these muscles are relaxed and treated properly. Sleep, doctors and sleep, not usually things that go together. Really what was awesome is her migraines got better. She was migraine free. I think it was by halfway through or so. And that was a huge breakthrough for her. And that might make you think, well, maybe it wasn't the nutrition. Maybe it was the better sleep. Maybe it was getting that shoulder massage, all right? Maybe it was other things. Maybe it was learning how to handle stress. And I think those are all great components. But what really got me was right after she finished the group, and she's migraine free, feeling fantastic for the first time since I think it was 14, right? So she was doing really well. And hello, if you're watching. But right after the group, she went and did a retreat from another plant-based doctor who does cooked plant-based approach. And she went to the retreat, and within a couple days at the retreat of only eating cooked foods, her migraines came back. And so she went to Costco, bought a Vitamix and all her Power Greens and everything, brought it back to the retreat, started doing her smoothies again, and within a day, her migraines were gone again. So I think that was a really cool test of how powerful nutrition can be in addition to everything else for migraines. Excuse me, one moment. All right, I don't want to talk through that. Okay, let's see. What is the next one? Okay. Oh, this is just a celebration. Go, Carla. Says, I've been on your protocol since March 19th and my blood sugar has been under 100 consistently. No more meds for now. Goodbye, diabetes. Good for you. That's freaking awesome. I love it. Let's see here. All right. This person wants to know, would asparagus be high nutrient if I can't up there with spinach and cruciferous? Yes, absolutely. Oh, this is a good one. Jim wants to know, any patients with CIPD, autoimmune disease, see reversed results with smoothie? I think you mean smoothie shred. It says smoothie spread. Yes, actually. We have had multiple people do rapid recovery for CIDP who had miraculous improvements in their mobility and strength and health. It was actually astonishing to see how robust the recovery was. So yes, absolutely. All right. I didn't forget you, Instagram. Let's go over to Instagram and see what you're asking me about today. All right. Brittany wants to know, Brittany Hills, can you eat too much tofu? You know, whenever somebody asks me a question like this, I always have to wonder, how much we talking? How much tofu are you eating for you to ask me, can you eat too much tofu? I think the answer to that really depends on your goals. So health-wise, no, I have not seen a problem where somebody ate too much tofu and that caused a health issue. I eat tofu most days, actually. I just love it. It's delicious. There's a lot of great health benefits to tofu. People get the science wrong a lot on tofu. They hear that it has phytoestrogens, which it does. And then they assume that it means that it has estrogen, which it doesn't. And then they think it's going to cause breast cancer or man boobs or all sorts of problems, which it doesn't. It's actually the opposite. So it has phytoestrogen in it, which actually reduces our exposure to estrogen, which is why it is very helpful for protecting us against breast cancer and helping men build muscle. My husband has built a lot of muscle on tofu. Yeah, I've only seen really good things in terms of people's health with it, unless you happen to be sensitive to soy. Sometimes people are allergic, not in some areas of the world, they've eaten tofu since they were a baby. And in other areas, they don't even know what it looks like. So, there's always a chance of sensitivities, but I have never seen any truth to the whole idea that there's something wrong with soy, especially not processed. Processed soy, yeah. Processed soy powders and things, those are inflammatory. Edamame, which is the soybean, tofu, no. Now, those are not part of my most aggressive programs because they're not necessary for recovery and there's a chance of allergy or something. But in general, no, I don't have any problem with people eating tofu. But again, how much tofu are you eating? Like if you're eating a package a day, I don't see a problem. If you're eating like 20 packages a day and you're not getting in enough, greens or other things, maybe it's a problem. I don't know. I always wonder whenever somebody asks me, is this unlimited? I always start to get curious. What are we talking about? Okay, let's see. Go over to YouTube again. All right, so Rosalie Medlin wants to know, I need to gain weight. Will this protocol help me gain weight? So this is another version of a lot of the questions that I get around people being afraid of weight loss or afraid of being slim. When you say, I'm going to answer this differently than you probably want me to, but the way I think will be more helpful. So I want you to think about what is your actual health goal. So is it that your health is fantastic, but you just want a rounder booty. You want some good portobello mushrooms on your shoulders. You know, you want to get a good bicep going. Like, what is that your only goal? Is you want to gain muscle mass so you can look like a bikini competitor, like ripped, right? Or is your goal that you need to improve something going on with your health? Or is it that you're focused on a number on a scale and you think somehow there's a perfect number for you, and when you get to that number, everything's going to be okay? Most of the time when people ask me that question, they still have a lot of health problems and they're focused on the number and the scale. Your weight is not in and of itself very important. What weight you are gaining and what weight you have lost, that is way more important. And it's usually not your fault. Oftentimes doctors will look at that number and go, oh, this number is too low, gain weight. And then what will they give you? Sugary processed junk so that you can get fatter. And then that number in the scale looks better. And now you're sicker than you ever were before. It's preposterous, right? So I want you to get super, super logical about what your goal is. If you've actually solved all your health issues, you've done my protocol, your health is gorgeous, and you want to put on weight, then make sure you are leaning towards gaining muscle mass, not getting fatter, right? When you get fatter, you get sicker. How do you gain muscle mass? Well, you have to do intense bodybuilding exercise that actually strains and stresses those muscles so that they need to fix themselves. You get that soreness and you gain strength. Once you've already gotten to the health you want, you can switch into a bodybuilding protocol. You can get stronger while on the Goodbye Lupus protocol. You won't gain weight, but you will gain tone, definition. You'll look ripped. You'll get abs. It'll be awesome, but you won't be any larger, okay? Once you're healthy, you could really, the best program would be to use my husband's Miracle Metabolism program. It's in his book, Miracle Metabolism. In that book, he shows you how to go from more of a fat loss, Goodbye Lupus protocol to a muscle building program where you can safely put on muscle. But realize that a bodybuilding diet, a diet that causes you to gain weight, that you're going to hopefully cause to be more muscle than fat, that diet has to be inflammatory. There is inflammation necessary in the weight gain process. And even when you're gaining muscle, if you're doing the exercise correctly, you'll gain more muscle than fat, but you'll still gain some fat. If you're not doing the right exercise, you're going to primarily gain fat. But there is some inflammation to eating for weight gain, not to muscle building. People confuse this all the time. They'll say, I heard lifting weights is inflammatory. No, lifting weights is fabulous. But eating in order to gain weight has some inflammation involved. You can minimize the inflammation on his program, but still it's required, which is why we always tell people, do not focus on the weight gain until your health is where you need it to be. Okay. So hopefully that helps you. I never look at weight as a measurement, as a goal. Your weight doesn't matter for my goal. What matters for your goal is your health. So I've had folks, I have one person, there's a testimony on my site that I was just looking at that was years old, where somebody joined my rapid recovery group at 86 pounds. And she did rapid recovery, only raw foods, smoothies, salads, healed her disease. And then in the months after rapid recovery, gained all of her weight back to a healthy weight, muscle, all of that stuff that she had to heal first. Had she not done the program because she was already too thin, she would have stayed sick. She hadn't lost weight because of a healthy diet or because she was doing too much cardio, right? She lost weight as part of an illness. And that's the other thing to look at is, why do people lose weight? Are you losing weight because you're eating vegetables and you're doing high intensity interval training exercise? Or are you losing weight because you have a disease that's causing you to burn a lot of calories through inflammation and it's eating up your muscle tissue? Are you losing weight because you're taking high dose steroids, which eats up your muscle tissue, right? So it's much more helpful to focus on your actual goals for your health and be very clear about what kind of weight am I trying to gain? Am I just trying to gain any weight so I can feel relieved that the scale looks better? Or am I really focused on, my new bodybuilding regime because I'm going to turn into a bodybuilder and I want to put on mass? So be really clear about that. But the shortest answer to this is my hyper-nourishment protocol will optimize your metabolism so that when you do bodybuilding exercise, you will gain muscle faster. It helps you lose weight, lose fat, gain muscle. But if you're eating just the Goodbye Lupus protocol, you're not going to gain weight on that unless you're not eating anything now. And it's actually an increase from what you were doing before. I know that was a lot, but it was a different way of answering the question. And it's not exactly one we've done before. So I wanted to give that a little time. Okay, let's see what else we got over here. Okay. Joanne wants to know, has anybody menopausal had increased intensity of hot flashes from chia or flaxseed? Is it detox? Should I push through or reduce amount? I've only had a quarter cup of my smoothie, but I drank it all in one go. So not usually does somebody have hot flashes from it, especially you had a quarter cup. It's unlikely that that was the reason. And as I just said, flax seeds can help lower your exposure to estrogen. So most people find it helps in menopause. But if you'd rather avoid any contribution of anything hormonal, then just do the chia seeds and see if that helps. But it's hard to imagine that one serving of a quarter cup did that, but chia seeds avoids the whole issue. Okay, let me see. Colleen wants to know, I have Hashimoto's and AFib. I've been hypernourishing for about 4 months. Do you believe your protocol could help with AFib? I have had people who have had improvements and resolution of AFib, and others who have it who have not yet. So yes, we've seen great results. I think it really depends on the cause, where it's coming from, right? But it's very, very good for cardiovascular health. So I'm glad you're doing that. All right, let's see what's going on Facebook here. All right. Victoria, I'm trying to get my husband on the protocol, but he's a bodybuilder. Will he lose his muscle if he goes on protocol? So he'll have to give up meat? Absolutely not. Victoria, I really encourage you to send him over to Thomas Tadlock's website. My husband, Thomas Tadlock, he actually, he has a really cool video. Goodness, I wish I had a link to it off the top of my head. Leo, do you know the link to Tom's transformation, his 28-day vegan bodybuilding transformation? It's on his YouTube. If you find it, text it to me and I'll put it in the comments for you guys. I'll try to post it up there for you. But my husband actually so when he became plant-based, this was his biggest concern, was I'm just going to be a skinny vegan. And he was known in the fitness industry. He was super, super ripped, muscular guy. So he actually intentionally lost muscle again using 100% plant-based diet on his program to prove how much he could gain. And he said what he figured out through his 2 sessions of doing this is he could build muscle much faster and have PRs, personal records in bodybuilding strength on a daily basis. And he was able to do it on less than half the protein than he needed as a meat-based diet. But he actually did a video. Thomas up. He heard me talk about him. He sent me a link. He actually made a video where he took a picture of himself every single day for the entire time, so that he could show the transformation in time. All right, I'm going to post a comment and hopefully you guys can see it. All right, it was veganmuscleproject.com, but it was really cool. There was a guy, one day I went to the gym when he was doing that, and this guy, I had a shirt that said vegan or something. It was a free shirt I got somewhere. and this guy went, "Oh, I'm a vegan now too. I just went vegan." I go, "Really? Why?" And he said, "Well, there's this guy who keeps coming in, this bald guy, and every day he's bigger than the day before. And he said he's doing it 100% on plants. So I switched immediately." It's like, I know that bald guy. So yeah, it's a misconception, but the opposite is true. You can have less protein, faster results, less inflammation. It's really good. So it's veganmuscleproject.com. Okay, let's see here. All right. And Chiquita wants to know, since I can't afford to join the Rapid Recovery Program, is there a place where you offer other elements of that program? Absolutely. So on my social media, every single day, I post videos that are similar to the work that I do. I mean, they get like, their meetings can go on for hours, so everybody can get personalized coaching. But I do share excerpts of that to help you guys. My book, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease, that book was written for people who want to try to do, some of that work at home. So that there's a chapter that each of the chapters, besides the dozens of case studies, there's chapters coming from different coaching I've given people through that program. So it's a good one to go to, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease. Speaking of Rapid Recovery, that group is starting to fill up now. So just so you know, the folks who want to do Rapid Recovery with me in May, so it's April 12th, the group starts May 19th, 6-week Rapid Recovery group. So if you are planning to do that with me, please get your spot. It always fills up at least a couple weeks before it starts. And then I get all these messages from people who are like, please take one more person. And I literally can't. Like, I have a dedicated level of coaching and help I give people on a daily basis. and we can't sacrifice that. So once that one fills, then we'll be going to the one that's a couple months after that. So just so you know, so that's goodbyelupus.com. Anyone who's looking for that, you're just here for the Q&A, ignore. But for those of you who are looking to work with me, looking to do that group, it's goodbyelupus.com. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention, my brain, was I did post this on social media yesterday, but I've been asked to fly to New York City to do this morning show. It's a Wake Up Cheddar. And so they're having me fly out to do that. And while I'm there, it'd be really cool if any of you have any events or groups that you think would be cool for me to come speak at. Let me know. You can email me, drg@goodbyelupus.com. Since I'm going to make the trip, I'd love to be able to give another talk before I head on the plane and head all the way back to Texas. So let me know if you have a group that might be looking for a speaker or something out in New York City. I've done a lot of work with different places. Somebody wrote to me about Seventh-day Adventist churches. Yep, used to speak to them out in California because they love plant-based eating. But any kind of group like that, make sure you let me know so that while I'm there, maybe I'll get to see you in person. Okay. All right. Instagram. I love seeing people in person, and I miss it. Since the pandemic, I've only been able to go in person to a couple things now, and it's like everybody's used to Zoom now. So I'm trying to I used to fly every month. I'd go do at least one, trip somewhere to teach in person, and I'm ready. I'm ready to come back. All right, let's see. All right, overcome autoimmune. That's a good topic there. Good name. So can Goodbye Lupus protocol help reverse mast cell activation and hyponatremia? I tried adding more salt, but it causes water retention. So yes, I've helped people with mast cell conditions. Sometimes you do need medication at the time. I mean, I had one lady who was so severe in her mast cell condition, she couldn't even leave her house. Like if somebody walked by with a perfume, she would be on the floor, like can't breathe. And she actually got, I can't think the name of the medicine right now. It was a brand new kind of experimental medicine where they gave her injections and it suppressed her mast cells. And then she was able to eat on plan. She was able to leave her house. So sometimes you need medical help is what I'm saying. Other folks can manage it as long as they stick to low histamine food choices. And you can do low histamine on the Goodbye Lupus protocol, and it works really well. If you have water retention and hyponatremia, you've got something else going on. That's not just autoimmune, but it's either kidneys or heart disease as well that's causing this. Sometimes liver, but most commonly it's liver or heart. So I don't know why you're having that water retention, but that's important to me. So if you have hyponatremia, and you can't drink more water because it causes water retention, and you're talking about like edema in your legs or water in your lungs, like that kind of water retention, then all you can do is restrict water. And you can't do the full protocol, but you can at least do the parts that you can, and then as much water as you can. And hopefully it will get better enough that you can then add more water at that time. Okay, let me get one more on Instagram since I did give them a couple extra. All right, let me see. All right, Bikayla, what can I do if even water gives me water on the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol? So that depends on what you have. So for example, the first thing that comes to mind is, do you have Crohn's disease? Do you have ulcerative colitis? Because water is something important when you have diarrhea, right? We have to rehydrate you, and water with sodium so that you can absorb the water and not just, have it all come back out again. Please try to be specific with me, guys. So I do like that you told me GAIP, so I knew which protocol you meant, but I don't know the cause of your diarrhea. And that might change my answer. So maybe you can give me a little bit more detail. Okay. And Erica Busta wanted to know, can you explain why we don't need collagen supplements? Yeah, because your body can produce collagen. So, I mean, I have had a lot of great success working with people with all sorts of different disorders, including, for example, scleroderma, which affects the skin and people's skin elasticity, right? And those folks, their skin gets very hard and rigid. Well, I had somebody with severe scleroderma who was going and getting physical therapy and help every week. And in 2 weeks in my rapid recovery program, her skin elasticity went up 20%, right? Her skin was repairing itself, and we were just using nutrition. So I have not seen a need. That's just one example, but I've helped people with all sorts of different skin conditions, and they have not had a need for it. Sometimes people think you need to add collagen for skin health, for hair growth, all that stuff. You don't. I don't take any of those kind of supplements, and just with nourishment, I'm literally cutting my fingernails with clippers every couple days. My hairstylist is always like, no, how did it grow this much? Like, so you don't need to do it. And most folks who do my programs have the same experience where they're like, oh my God, my nails are growing, my skin is glowing, my hair is growing, and they're not taking collagen supplements. They're just using the right nutrition and their body's doing what it needs to do. So I like to just stick with what's necessary and what works. So it's not necessary and it works without it. So that's why. All right, let's see here. Let's go over to YouTube again. All right, let's see here. So many questions, so many good questions. All right, let's see here. Oh, somebody else wrote down, I did rapid recovery too. I had a migraine every morning, gone after the program. Beautiful. Yeah, the brain's happier. Brain's happier. Let's see. All right. So Trish, let me address this for you because this is important. Lupus nephritis on GLP, Goodbye Lupus Protocol, and not seeing I'm guessing improvements. All right. So Trish, if you are struggling to get improvements and you have lupus in your kidneys, come see me. All right, let's work on this. And you didn't put your last name, so I don't know if I do have a Trish that I know of, but if you're not working with me daily, maybe it's time to switch to rapid recovery, or at least meet with me so we can go over what you're doing and make sure that you're doing everything you need to. So sometimes people say they're in the Goodbye Lupus Protocol, but they're not doing it correctly. Sometimes we need to make changes because they are doing it correctly, but they might be having a food sensitivity, and I'm good at being able to identify that. Or it could be that you're doing the Goodbye Lupus Protocol well, but you have too much stress and not enough sleep. Or it could be that maybe you're getting on plan, but you're eating off plan as well, or you're not getting the right amounts. There's so many different ways people make mistakes. But if your kidneys are at risk, that's when you should come and see me so that we can get the level of care up high enough to make sure you're getting results. I mean, that's why I have rapid recovery programs. It's not because I just don't want to take days off, like I do it because there are a lot of people who are so sick that me being there to help them every day is what gets them over that finish line. That's what helps them figure things out. It's what helps them get it right, but also get it right again the next day. It helps them not tell themselves they're doing it when they're not fully doing it, right? So the reason I created that is because I want to see people fully recover. And if it takes seeing them every day to get them there, then that's what I'll do. And that's how I develop these programs, is just for that reason. What does it take to get somebody well? So if you're struggling, then that's the level of care that I would recommend, because you have an organ at risk. Well, two, right? So both kidneys. And if there's an organ at risk, we have to take really high level action to make sure that you're doing everything right so you can save the organ. I have really super results with lupus nephritis. All right. And Colleen wanted to know when's the next rapid recovery group. Aloha from Hawaii. I do love Hawaii. Got married there. Again, so that's May 19th. Let me see. Jennifer, lupus and antiphospholipid syndrome from Texas. Yeah, I used to have lupus and APS as well with mini strokes. So I've definitely been there, and I'm in Texas now too. So welcome. Says new to the page. Some migraines, inflammation. I'm off all meds except for the Plaquenil per my doctors. Do not want to see me. I don't know if this is a celebration that they don't want to see you because you're doing really well, or if there's a question in here, but I just got to the end and realized I don't see a question. So hopefully it's that you're doing really well, but if you have a question, let me know, and welcome. All right, let's see. Anne says, please talk about water. RO versus alkaline, what's best? Do trace mineral drops help? Thank you. I have found that any water that people use is usually fine. I'll tell you that when I did this program, I was an intern going through my residency, and I had a giant water bottle, not unlike this one, but it was one that strapped to my back. It was a gallon jug, and I would refill it from the tap in the bathroom. I just drank the water that came out of the tap, and my lupus was gone within a few months. Now I have a filter on my, I have a filtered, machine in my kitchen. Not because I'm worried about tap water actually, but because I just like the flavor better. Growing up in New York, the water tastes much better than in other places. I don't know. It's a weird thing. So I like the taste better filter now. But, most tap waters are pretty highly studied and filtered, and people get better just fine. Alkaline water, is there benefits? Yeah, I think potentially there's benefit. So if you are someone who's highly inflamed and you're not fully on a protocol yet, then it can help, right? Because if your body's more alkaline, you can improve your health. And if your diet is inflammatory, it creates a more acidic body. That said, when we were in California, my husband had a client who was selling those systems. They have those like I don't know what you call it, MLMs, where they're, they buy it and then they try to sell it to everyone they know, kind of situation. And so they were selling these big alkaline water systems, and she was so passionate about it. She just loved it, felt really good on it. So she asked if she could give us like alkaline water for a month to see if we felt any different. I said sure. So we drank it. It was delicious. I do like the taste of alkaline water, but we didn't notice any difference in our health or energy or anything like that. But we already had really good health and really good energy, so I don't know that we would have. So yeah, I mean, it's totally fine. It's expensive, but if you like it, if you feel good on it, go for it. If you're already really healthy, you probably don't need it. So it's just one of those things where that's entirely up to you. But I have just found that people drinking any water do better. You really do need water. Okay, let's see here. Let me see here. I can't give comments on whether or not your supplements and things are good, guys. I don't have, I mean, I haven't studied every supplement out there. Really, the nutrition is the biggest thing to ask me about, just so you know. Let's see. Okay. Gary wants to know how I feel about frequent sauna use. As long as you're staying hydrated, should be fine. If you like it, let me see. Thanks, Linda. Linda said that she meant to click love and instead it said angry, and she's just letting me know. Thank you for letting me know. Nobody's mad at me yet. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, there's the rest of Trisha's question. You're wondering when the next appointment is to see me to help with your lupus nephritis because you're not getting better on your own. Okay, that's good. My appointments are pretty full. So I'm going to say I'd have to look at my schedule. I think for the next available wellness appointment, it's either August or early September. There is an option for a rush add-on. If someone gets a rush add-on, you can get in within 8 weeks. And really all I'm doing is coming in early to try to see people before I normally see people. So it's just like adding more time to my day. And those usually get filled in. So at this point, it's a rush is 8 weeks. Really the fastest way to work with me right now is the May Rapid Recovery Group, because even 8 weeks out now is the first week of June. So still do it, whichever one you're going to do. I've seen it too many times now where someone's like, oh, I didn't make an appointment because I'd have to wait too long for the appointment. And then like 6 months later, they make an appointment and they're like, I should have done that appointment where I would have taken 2 months to see you instead of waiting 6 months. So make an appointment anyway, or join the group, something so that you have something on the books while you're working on yourself. And then really work on religiously getting this down as best you can in the meantime. But like I said, for an urgent situation like with kidneys, rapid recovery makes the most sense because you'll get my help every day. So the May 19th is really close. It's like a month away. So that would be my suggestion for the best next thing. Okay, she just cut off before. Let me see here. Okay, let me see. Happy wants to know about like using omega-3 from fish oil for GIGP. That would be off plan. So for the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease Protocol, you would use flax or chia seeds or oil. Okay, let me see here. Ellen wants to know any adaptations if you're trying to heal endometriosis. Nope. So you can do it exactly the same way as everybody else. Okay. Let me see one more from Facebook before we go to Instagram again. And Monica said, I was told edamame is bad for my thyroid. Is that true? Nope. Sometimes I can answer quickly, right? I know I tend to answer in detail to things, but that's how my brain works. I like to understand things thoroughly and explain things thoroughly, but sometimes I can answer in one word. It happens every now and then. All right. Your favorite wealth coach. That's a great name too. Can people have honey on protocol? No, that would just be a sugar source. So no. Let me see. There's some good names out there. Okay, Christy wants to know, hopefully this will be an easy question. How do I stop the greens from being spicy? I'm cautious about too much spinach for oxalate. So the only ones that I consider spicy tasting would be, I think by spicy you mean bitter. I think of it as bitter, but maybe you think of it as spicy. Kale can be pretty bitter, especially when you get it off the bunch. Definitely take the stems off. So if you're using the stems, take the stems off. All right, that'll make it less bitter. Or you can buy the baby kale. Those tend to be a lot more easy to handle in terms of flavor. If you're not doing spinach, then you could always do other types of greens, like cabbage tends to be pretty mild tasting. I've even seen people use cauliflower and love it. Me personally, I'd rather eat broccoli and cauliflower than blend it, but there are folks who are just diehard love it that way, and then other folks are like, no. So you might want to experiment a little bit, but I find that the cabbages, red and green, tend to be really mild for smoothies. The other thing that can help with taking out that green taste besides the fruit is avocado. Even like a scoop of avocado seems to really mellow out the green kind of flavor. So you can try that too. All right. All right, let me see. All right, Jessica's having a struggle. Let's help Jessica. Cute dog picture. All right. Please explain how you can be going strong with green smoothies, eating healthy salads, losing weight, and you decide to eat one meal off course and it completely throws everything off. It slows weight loss, you feel bad, etc. Okay, it sounds like you went through a thing, Jessica. There's a lot of exclamation or lots of question marks and things going on here, right? You've been through something. I feel it. I think everybody else feels it. There's a lot of aspects to this. So I don't think that one meal, especially if you're doing this for weight loss, you can work your way around one meal off plan. You can out exercise it. You can, like if you ate, let's say you ate something that was sugary and you're trying to lose weight. All right, do a bodybuilding day that day. Try to get some muscle out of it, right? There's ways you can work around one meal. And if you're really going hard and just doing smoothies and salads and you're doing high intensity interval training exercise and you eat one thing that's off the plan, it should not throw everything off for your weight loss, as long as you bounce right back. What I see more commonly though is somebody eats off plan once and then that changes their whole momentum. They get super emotional about it. They get angry with themselves and then they get depressed about it, and call themselves names. I'm a screw up, all these kind of things. And then that makes them not want to finish their smoothie because they already ate the pizza. So why even finish the smoothie now? Well, you actually need it more after you eat off plan. And then they don't get as good a workout in. And so then it leads to like a whole emotional set of dominoes going off that kind of slows them down completely. So just know that, you can come back from that. Now, in terms of health, if you're talking about feeling bad in terms of health, it absolutely can. And the easiest way to understand it is, through metaphor, really. So if you are, let's say, working on healing something, it's like if you had an open wound on your arm, right? And then you have this giant scab here that you've built off of smoothies and salads. It's healing. It's getting better, right? It's not oozing anymore. It's doing well. And then you eat one thing off plan and you barely touch the scab, right? If you've ever had a big scab, like I was kind of a tomboy kid climbing trees all the time. I always had like big scabs on my knee. And I don't even know if that's a good word to use anymore. That's what they called me as a kid. I was a girl who liked to climb trees. I retract calling myself that because that's what they used to call us as kids, but I don't know if that's really a correct way to call it. So I was a girl who liked to climb trees, okay? And I used to constantly have like skin knees. And the scab would form, but then you barely touch it. You just move like a gentle pant leg over it, and boom, it's off and it's bleeding, right? So when you are in the healing process, things are really delicate, and you're building up a sense of, some repair tissue. Things are getting better, but it's very, very delicate. And just one bite off plan I've seen really tank somebody, and then they kind of have to like regroup and start over again. Now, usually they can get better faster than they did before because, you're healthier than they used to be. So you can come back from it faster. I've seen that even in kidney function, where somebody will eat, I had a guy he had doubled his kidney function in 2 weeks on rapid recovery, and then one bite of a miniature chocolate bar, and he was down 8 points from one bite of chocolate off of his kidney function. It was steadily going up, and then one bite, boom, crashed. So I don't think we know all the different mechanisms exactly to say this is why, but what we do know is that's what happens. But if you do that, if you go off plan, all you can do is get yourself back on track. Just go back to what you know works, and don't forget to analyze why you did it so you can make a game plan. Not in a way of like, why do I suck, right? No, but to look at like, what set me up for eating that one thing off plan? Why would I be going so well on my smoothies and my salads and my water, my exercise, and taking great care of myself? Why would I risk that for 3 minutes of eating something that tastes good and might take away my results? And if you can figure out what you tripped over, I call it tripping over because it's like you fell down. What did you trip over? Were you hungry? Were you mad? Were you depressed? Were you feeling left out? Whatever it was, if you can figure out what it is that you tripped over, you can plot your path around it next time so you don't trip over it again. And that's really the best you can do. That's all any of us can do, right? Humans learn by falling down. Just that we learn by falling down when we're toddlers learning to walk, and we learn by falling down even as adults. You make a mistake and go, whoa, how did I end up here? Figure out how you got there so you can plan your path around, so next time you have a better chance at getting farther before you fall down again. And hopefully that will help you. So don't worry about that it happened. Game plan around what triggered you, and then just keep going and getting your health. Okay. Pep talk done. All right, let's see here. Okay. This one, Crazy Farm Girl wants to know, goodbye, Lupus. Curious question. Only cruciferous veggies for smoothies, or does any green work? So the point of doing the cruciferous vegetables is hypernourishment is a protocol that's specialized towards optimizing cellular repair and immune function, right? And it's an intentional overdose in nutrition. That's why we call it hypernourishment. We actually coined that term. I see it all over the place now, but we coined that term, hypernourishment. So hypernourishment is an intentional overdose in nutrition so that you can optimize cellular repair in a way that you can actually experience, right? If you've got about 100 trillion cells, a little cup of smoothie is not going to change your life, right? We got to get the dosage high enough. So the highest dose you can get of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and other phytonutrients happen to be in cruciferous vegetables. And that's why we use cruciferous vegetables. Now, there are some other vegetables that are pretty close, and you can use them as well. Spinach is one of them, spinach chard, ones like that, where they are very, very high nutrient and don't happen to be cruciferous. So you can use any of those, but not any green, because sometimes people will put lettuce and that's not going to do it. Okay. Hey, thanks, Sean. All right, let's see. And then this Facebook user says, can I still have rice because I like rice and I'm trying to beat RA? Yeah, I wish, but no, it doesn't work. Rice is the one grain that I have seen really sabotage people's recovery, and nobody wants to give up rice. I mean, rice is a processed grain. You're not eating it in its whole form. They peel away all the different layers till you get that pulp. That pulp turns right into blood sugar, and it gives you that high that you don't get from quinoa. Right? You never eat quinoa and go, oh yeah, I love quinoa. You're just grabbing a scoop and eating as much as you can. I've never seen that, but I've seen people do it for rice. People love rice, right? It's not love. It's actually addiction. It's sugar. And it is everywhere, right? And I work with people all over the world, and there's a lot of cultures where rice is considered like the primary food. And there's also some physicians out there who like to make, unscientific statements like, if people do something everywhere, then that must be something they need. No, the reason why so many people eat rice is because it's easy to grow and it tastes good, right? And because of those things, and it's easy to store, right? So if you're in an area where there's a big population and there's a lot of hunger and there's not a lot of fresh food, this is something that'll fill your stomach, it'll taste good, and we can make a lot of it, right? And it can help with things like hunger, but it's not optimal for human health. I had somebody recently who tested this. She said, I'm going to do the Goodbye Lupus protocol plus rice, which is no longer the Goodbye Lupus protocol. And she gave it a couple months and did not have improvement. And then we took the rice out, and within 2 weeks, her pain was dramatically down. She felt amazing. She couldn't feel how much healing she was doing in the background until she took the rice out. So if you want to do, hypernourishment plus a grain, then do quinoa, but don't do rice. All right. Everybody likes rice, but it's because of the high. And listen, I'm not trying to be mean. I would be so happy if there was a way to do this and get the same results that I get with people, but with, more addictive and fun foods. It just doesn't work. And I'm just being honest with you, as someone who lived with lupus for so much of my life, I can tell you that it's worth it to give up the rice. It really is. Okay, let's see here. Let's go over to Instagram. All right. I am Channel Chan. Hello there. Can we freeze cauliflower to put in our smoothies and will it be as effective frozen? That's up to you. It's not considered hypernourishing anymore once it's frozen. There is some loss of nutrition. So there are some folks where they're like, don't have access to food or shopping, and that's the only way they can do it. See if it works for you. But if you want it to be what we would call hypernourishment, it would only be fresh. Okay. Chris Brewer wants to know, do you see patients? Yes, I do see people. Everyone I see is over either Zoom or FaceTime or phone. I see people internationally. So patients would be people who are either international or people who live in Hawaii, Texas, or California. But for wellness consultations around nutrition, I see people from everywhere, but I do it all virtually. If you go to goodbyelupus.com, you can make an appointment with me or do a program with me. Hi, Lori. All right, let's see. Butterfly Walker wants to know, how do you stop kidneys from spilling protein? So that's a great question. So the reason why that you would get protein in your urine is because of damage to the kidney. So the way that you stop protein in your urine is you fix the damage to the kidney. And that's what the Goodbye Lupus protocol is for. Is to fix that damage to your kidney, right? So protein should not be able to get into the urine. It can only get through if there's damage, if there's holes in the tissue that allow it to escape, right? So one, make sure you don't eat high protein to try to resolve it because it's actually, when you eat any kind of animal proteins, eggs, meat, dairy, it actually puts strain on the kidney. It's called hyperfiltration, but the term doesn't matter. It puts stress on the kidney. And if you've already got damaged kidneys, it'll make it worse. So people go, oh, I'm losing protein in my urine. I've got low protein in my blood because I'm losing protein in my urine. I'll eat more. And then they actually damage the kidneys worse. And so with people with kidney failure, it actually causes a faster decline in the kidney function. GFR will go down immediately. Creatinine goes up. It's a whole big mess. So we got to repair the damage. And that's what my protocol is for. And I've actually published in the Journal of Disease Reversal some case studies in reversing end-stage kidney failure using my protocol. So it's definitely the way to go. All right, let me see here. And even for me, I had kidney failure from lupus 30 years ago. 30 years ago when I was 16, that's when they told me I had 6 months to live because my kidneys were failing so quickly, right? Now, at the time, it was chemotherapy and high-dose steroids for years that saved me. But even after they saved me, I still had protein in my urine. And they told me that that protein was forever because there was so much damage to my kidney when I was sick. And yet, when I changed my diet and did the Goodbye Lupus protocol 17 years ago, more than 17 years, it'll be 18 years this year, but over 17 years ago, when I changed my diet, 3 months later, when I went to get my test done, there was no protein in my urine and I'd never had it back. So at 46 years old, I have no protein in my urine, normal kidney function, whereas 16, it was really bad. And all the way through 28, I was still had all that, and yet I don't have it now. So even after all of those years, 12 years of protein in my urine, my kidneys still finished the healing process because I changed my diet. The medicines didn't give me that, but the nutrition gave me my kidneys back. And that's why I was able to go ahead and have children and never have a relapse, was because the nutrition actually got me well. So very, very important. All right, let's see here. All right, Lunchbox Mama Casey. Psoriasis. I'm 40, plant-based, mom of 2 young toddlers. Sudden diagnosis is hard. What's the process to figure out the trigger? So, it sounds like you're already on the right track because you're plant-based. I don't know if you've read my book, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease, but the foreword to that book was done by Ellen Jaffe Jones. Ellen Jaffe Jones is a plant-based athlete. She's awesome. And she runs marathons, super fit, and has been plant-based for decades. Okay. She used to do like cooking demos for some of the other plant-based doctors that teach, how to use the cooked foods. And she developed psoriasis, a few years ago out of the blue. And she thought, how can I get autoimmune disease? I'm plant-based. That won't happen. Right. And so thankfully, she knows Dr. Khan out in Michigan, and he sent her to me with a text. He said, this is Ellen, fix her, which I love people from the Northeast. My family is from the Northeast. So, you just get to the point. So sent her to me, and, she was doing just a lot of cooked foods, not really much raw food, not really much water, lots of tea and things. She went on pure hypernourishment. So full goodbye lupus protocol. And 2 weeks later, her psoriasis plaques were almost completely gone. I mean, and they did disappear after that. And she's still completely free from it. So I told her, listen, I think she was in her 60s at the time. Sorry, Ellen, I don't mean to age you, but I think you're in your 60s at the time. And I said, listen, you probably would have gotten psoriasis decades ago, but even eating plant-based, it still wasn't enough to ultimately stop the progression of these genes until she got the hypernourishment piece added to it. So do that and let's find out. It might be that you had the genes and you slowed it down being plant-based, but it wasn't enough yet to completely eliminate it until you went ahead and did the full protocol. So go ahead and do that. And let's see if we can get you the rest of the way there. I know it's hard getting a new diagnosis like that, but use the fear, channel it into the action taking, and let's get rid of it. All right, let's see here. All right, G Girl says, what makes you fat? If fat doesn't make you fat, what makes you fat? It sounds like a riddle. Is it starch? Is it a combination of starch and fat? There's a lot of different aspects of it. I mean, the most direct way to understand the pathway is that when is more towards sugars in your system. So insulin is a hormone that tells your body to either store blood sugar that's coming in as fat or muscle. So that is one direct way we know. So sugars for sure, right? It's one of the reasons why rice is a good way to get fat. Whenever I see people are like, I don't know why I can't lose weight. All I eat is beans and rice. So that should do it. Right. I'm like, that is a weight gain diet, it's not just fast. I mean, it's more complex. There's so many different factors involved in this. Okay. But, one of the problems that we've seen is people try to generalize things too much, right? And then when other folks who are teaching unhealthy methods can point out the flaws in their logic, people throw away the entire idea of healthy nutrition, right? Like if someone says that anytime you eat fat, it makes you fatter, then a keto person who's eating nothing but butter and bacon, who's got a six-pack, will be like, obviously that's an idiot right there, because look at me, I eat nothing but butter and bacon and there's no body fat on me, right? So it's not as simple as that. More sugars than fats are the cause, okay? And especially processed sugars. Now, of course, when you add in things like saturated fats, that is definitely going to be involved in the pathway of making more fat too. So for example, and we've been doing this a long time because my husband in his study, and he is hardcore nerd, like he doesn't make a declaration until he has studied it excessively in many people, hundreds of people. So he had the largest boot camps in Orange County, California, and he would give them all the same workouts and change the diet, change nutrition, change fat intake, all this kind of stuff. So he could test it out and find the answers, because that was his obsession, was what creates a fast metabolism? How do we get everybody to lose fat and not, at any age, and not just, some people yes, some people no, right? He tested avocados, he tested omega-3s, and he found with both of those, you can have unlimited amounts, flax, chia, avocados, stuff like that, unlimited amounts. And you will continue to lose fat just as quickly as long as you're getting the nourishment you need in and the right exercise. So hypernourishment creates the metabolism you want. So your metabolism is not just whether or not you're skinny or fat. Your metabolism is how quickly your body can utilize materials, do what you're asking it to do, right? Like if you're working out, you're asking it to lose fat or gain muscle, right? And how quickly it can change depending on the demands on your body. So that's how we came to believe when I did his protocol to lose fat and I lost the fat, I lost a bunch of dress sizes and I lost lupus. We realized that there is that metabolism is actually the way we can understand the entire body and how well it works. It's how well it can react to change, how well it can do the job it needs to do in the moment. So if you can create a fast metabolism using hypernourishment, and then you add in the right exercise that tells your body to lose fat, which is high intensity interval training, your body will lose it. And that's the most important part of it. Now, if you want to optimize fat loss, do unlimited raw vegetables. You can do unlimited cooked vegetables with it. You're still going to do the raw for hypernourishment, unlimited cooked vegetables. You can add things like tofu, quinoa, and you do your exercise, you'll lose fat just fine. If you start adding in stuff like beans and rice, other grains, now you're going to be messing with your insulin levels more, and you can slow down that process. So that's what we've seen from working with all of those folks over all of those years. Those are the best foods for fat loss. All right, so let me see here. Let me go back over here. Ellison 366. I'm in the UK. How can I do your healing plan? I've had cancer, diabetes, heart failure issues. You have been through so much, and I am so glad that you're here. Well, it depends. If you're looking just for more information, on my Instagram, there's actually a profile link that gives you all sorts of different resources, whether it's my books or classes, or if you want to work with me. If you want to work with me, I see people from all over the world, and we would just do it over Zoom or something like that. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, and you're looking for that, if you're looking for an appointment or something, goodbyelupus.com. My link tree with all the resources on Facebook, it's where it says learn more. YouTube, it's under every video or post. There's my link tree. Same as Smoothie Shred. I always have my link tree available under my posts for people who are looking for resources. Hopefully we can get your whole body doing better soon, my friend. Okay. Okay, let's see here. And again, Chandani, so goodbyelupus.com is where you get an appointment. All right. Lucky Cat 170. I've seen your name before. What vitamin D3 do you recommend and how much? When you're looking at D3, I mean, the most important thing is actually how much do you need, and how much you need is really based off of a lab test. So I would want to know where you're starting, right? I'd like to see people's levels over 40, preferably 50 or more, just for safety zone. And so if you get a test done and you're already there, just keep doing what you're doing, whatever you're taking is working. If it's low, then the way you replace it is 50,000 IU once a week until you get your levels up to that level that you want. And then you can switch to like 2,000 IU a day. I do have, if you use my link tree that I just told everybody about, like in my profile link, there is my Amazon shopping list, and I have there the one that I'm currently using, but it tends to be a moving target. If you know Amazon, like you'll be using the same thing and then all of a sudden they don't make it anymore and you get another one. D is a fat soluble vitamin, so it will be in fat. So at least if you're going to get one, get the one that's either dissolved in, well, I prefer the one that's in olive oil. So I use the liquid dropper. It's dissolved in olive oil, but it's only a couple drops a day and it's no big deal. So that's the kind that I usually go for. Okay, let me see here. Okay, Megan, my husband has one functioning kidney, GFR at 50.9. Is spinach okay for him to have in smoothies? We're working on getting his GFR back in normal range. I do not recommend spinach for people with kidney impairment. So since his GFR is under 60, I would say to avoid spinach. And I would also, I mean, you also have to test how well he can handle potassium. If he's able to do the smoothies as is and his electrolytes look great, awesome. But if not, you're going to have to look at the low potassium plan. We might have to do water restriction. Usually when there's an impairment in kidney function, that's when you want to work with me so I can figure out exactly what to do. But at minimum, if you've already started, get that lab test done so that you can check the metabolic panel and see how well he's handling it and make adjustments if necessary. Okay, let me see. Facebook user says, please address having a medjool date in your smoothie once in a blue moon. Thank you. All right, I will address it. If you are otherwise healthy and it's working for you, enjoy your date. If you're asking me if it's on the Goodbye Lupus protocol, it's not. Listen, when I'm giving these protocols, I'm telling you what's optimal to get the job done. Is it possible to not do it 100% and still get results? Yes, it happens all the time. I just don't want to speak to outliers. I want to speak to what definitely works. And then if you fudge it a bit and still get there, awesome. Those of you who know me, you know the protocol has changed over the years, right? Because, you know, what I published in Goodbye Lupus in 2015, when I did that, all of a sudden there were all these people who were doing the protocol, and we were able to go from, hundreds of people doing it to thousands of people doing it. And for me, what the most important to me is that whatever I'm doing is the best way to do things, is why I'm so open to growing and learning, right? The more people who've done this, the more data I have and the more I can optimize. And that's why even, when people are like, hey, back in this old post, you said this. Yeah. And since that post, I have seen thousands more people. And now I'm saying it this way, right? So that is my growing and learning and making sure what I speak is optimal. Beware of folks who have been teaching the same thing in exactly the same way for decades. Like they're not willing to even acknowledge or learn about new ways of doing things or other results that are happening. That's, to me, that means that you're more committed to being right than you are to people's health. For me, I'm committed to you guys. I want your health to be great. And if that means like taking in data and making an adjustment, I'm always going to do that. Because I'm more committed to you and all of your health. So that's why what I do tends to be very, very specific, because this is what I've been doing. I mean, we've had so many, over 1,000 people just do rapid recovery. And these people I watch every single day, and I'm watching what happens and what's happening with their pain levels and what's happening with their kidneys. So the amount of data I have is extraordinary. And if I wasn't spending all of my time working with the public, man, I could publish, 100 books already on all the cases. I just am very focused on people in recovery, and listen, it's just me. So I'm just doing all the work that I can. But that's why, you'd be like, wait, I thought you could have a date a couple of years ago. I was like, yeah, why not? And then what happened? The reason I don't say that 1 or 2 dates are okay now, this is the reason. I had a client who was doing everything right except for 2 dates in her smoothie, and I thought 2 dates a day were fine. And she wasn't getting better. And then we took the dates out, and then boom, it was it. Like 2 weeks later, she went, oh my gosh, I feel great. That was it. And I went, crap. Well, I can't have anybody else not get better by accident because of a couple dates. Out. So that's, literally it's just experience. Everything I teach is based off experience. Now, if you get away with the date, hallelujah, enjoy it, but if you're not getting results, just take it out. And it's a lot of sugar cut down to the things that don't have that sugar. All right, let me just, it's time to go, but I'll do one little rapid fire. Danae Stone wants to know what my husband's book is called. Let me get him. Here he is. Look how cute he is. There he is. Miracle Metabolism. It's his obsession. Oh, Instagram, here you go. It's his obsession with understanding human metabolism that saved my life. I literally might not be here right now if it wasn't for him. I'm getting myself crying. He saved my life, and he makes my life amazing every day. So I'm always happy to share him. He is absolutely brilliant. Sorry, guys. No, see, look at that. Even we have our 17-year wedding anniversary in October, and I still can't look at his face without tearing up. I love him so much. Thank you, Thomas, if you happen to see this. Miracle Metabolism is Thomas. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. He makes me emotional. Let me see if I can find another quick one for you guys. I love all the comments that you guys put in while I'm talking. Okay. All right. Lisa, no, wait, I'm sorry. Cynthia, which protocol do with MS? The Goodbye Lupus protocol, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol. Those work for MS. Let's see if there's anybody else that has like a fast one. Megan, yes, Chia is safe for GFR 50. All right. Any rapid fire instas? All right, Tracy, can you substitute daily greens and spirulina for greens? No, listen, if there was a way to do this with powder, 100%, I would tell people to do that. It'd be so much easier. No, you got to use the fresh stuff. But you can add spirulina if you want, but it's not a substitution. All right. My thoughts about bioidentical hormones, not my area study. I don't give advice on stuff that I haven't personally actually had experience with and tested. So I'm not going to weigh in on somebody else's area study there. Let me see here. Dr. Draney, how much weight loss is okay before intervention is needed for someone who's not overweight? Again, it depends on why they're losing weight. Are they losing body fat? I don't see an intervention necessary. Are they losing muscle mass? Why? Are they on high dose steroids? Are they too sedentary? What's going on? Are they under eating and they're starving themselves? So really, don't look at the number for weight loss. Look at what is being lost and why, and then make a game plan for the reason if necessary. All right, let me see. Southern Beauty, yes, make an appointment. Let's see if we can figure out your super weird and tricky autoimmune disease. I've less semblin. Can flaxseed increase BRCA? No. And I did talk about that today. And let's see. And all right, this one. All right, you win the last one here. Tanai Weddy. Can't say the name, sorry. I have Sjogren's, but I just developed a butterfly rash on my face. Is this likely lupus? How can I relieve the rash while continuing to make changes to the diet? Possibly. I mean, the butterfly rash is most commonly associated with lupus, but when it comes down to all this, it doesn't change what we're doing, right? I think of autoimmune diseases of really the same thing. Why? Because the same program works for all of them. So you have this underlying inflammatory process that is triggering the autoimmune disease. The autoimmune disease then attacks different parts of your body depending on what antibody got produced. So is it an antibody that attacks your nervous system? You're going to call that MS. If you're attacking your skin, it could be psoriasis. It could be scleroderma. It could be lupus, right? If it's attacking your joints, it could be RA, or it could be lupus, or it could be, Hashimoto's, or it could be, right? So really it's all the same process. So really you just want to go all in on the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol, get yourself as healthy as possible. In terms of relieving the rash, you might want to talk to your doctor about that. There's different kinds of rashes. I don't know if you're saying it's itchy or it's painful. You might talk to them about something topical that can help as well. But just take it as a sign of continuing or spreading autoimmune, and take it as like a flag that your body is waving, asking you, please do something quickly because it's spreading, it's going somewhere else, and we got to get control of it. And that's something for all of you guys, right? Is that I always get, it's interesting. I put that video up the other day, and I knew it would be triggering for some, where I talked about how your body's not your enemy. And there are folks out there that get triggered when I say that your health is because of what's happened to your body and what you've done to your body, right? Like the traumas you've experienced, but also the stress, lack of sleep, and your diet. Those all are the greatest influences on your current level of health. And when I say that, it's not to blame a person. People feel blamed by that. It's not to blame anybody. We all have experienced things that made us sick. I was very sick too, right? It's to empower. It's to know that you are not a victim that was born into a defective body and there's nothing you can do, but instead, so you know that there's a lot you can do, and to motivate you to take that action, right? You'll never regret taking the best action you can and it didn't work, right? But if you never did it and you suffered and became disabled and there was a chance, like take the chance, right? I teach all this stuff for free. I literally spend this time every week for free to help the public because I just want you to do it and be well. Right. This is something so simple. So I've been meeting with someone weekly lately who is really immobilized and in so much pain, and she's doing so much better, and she's out and about, and she's feeling grateful and all this stuff. And it's so wonderful. And she said to me, I just can't believe sometimes how easy this is. I've been suffering for over a year, and it's so easy. Like it's just these smoothies and everything. And I'm just coming back to life. And it's hard to believe how simple it is. I know. And yet it is. And we've made it simple on purpose. We've made it so simple. Like just literally put these ingredients into a blender, blend it up, put a straw in it, and then drink some water and try to be grateful and enjoy your life, and your health will get better. And it does consistently. So just take the action. If your body is sick, it is sending you a check engine light. Please do something. It doesn't mean not to see your doctors, take medicines if you need them. Whatever it takes to be alive, please do that. I want you to be here, I just talked to someone today who said, if I have to be in a wheelchair, I'd rather not be alive. I said, no, you don't get to do that. I said, even if I'm in a wheelchair, I want to be here. Just put me in the front row so I can see, right? Like, let's not ever decide that there is like a line that we won't cross in terms of being alive and being here. Being told I was going to die 30 years ago made me so grateful for every day I opened my eyes. Whatever condition I was in, or how sick I was, if I opened my eyes, I was lucky that day. It was a good day. And here it is 30 years later. I'm still opening my eyes and I happen to feel good. And I want you to feel as good as I do. I just want you to do this so that you can feel good. Okay. So just take the action. Take the action. You don't like smoothies, fine, eat it as a salad. Whatever you got to do, just start taking the action today, because you really do have more power than anybody else to create the life that you want and the health that you want. You just have to take that action and you have to be consistent with it. All right. All right. End of lecture. I love all of you guys. It's always great to see so many people showing up every week. Oh my God, 430 people over on the Instagram, YouTube side. This is wild stuff. And 134 on Instagram. You guys just hang on the whole hour. It means a lot to me that you care enough to hear what I have to say. I hope that it changes your life, though. So don't just say, that was interesting. Use it. Go change your life and tell me all the good news. Post it on social media. Share your success with the world and inspire others. In the meantime, I'll be here. If you're looking to work with me again, goodbyelupus.com. Don't forget to sign up for the group if you were planning to. Please do not miss it if you were planning to. If you're just coming for the Q&As, no worries. But like, if you're trying to get a spot, don't miss it. And I will see you next week. I'll be here. Maybe you'll be here. I hope you're feeling well. All right. Take care, everybody. I'll see you next time. All right. Bye.